Something just broke inside the FBI, and Dan Bongino says he'll never be the same again. Not because of politics, not because of a headline, but because of what he just saw with his own eyes inside of a classified file room. A discovery that was so dark, so treasonous, that has actually stunned the bureaus to its core, and it's about to explode into public view. So guys, this is no longer theory. This is not a drill. What they're about to reveal connects the dots between Hillary Clinton, a uranium deal with Iran, a buried FBI investigation, and a stunning betrayal that nearly triggered a nuclear crisis. And the only reason that you're even hearing about it right now is because Donald Trump is back in charge, and he just unleashed a strike force inside the FBI to drag the truth out of the shadows. Guys, Dan Bongino and Kash Patel are inside. They've already seen the files, and what they found, it changes everything that you thought you knew about Russiagate, the Mar-a-Lago raid, and who was really working with foreign enemies. So guys, this video, it might not stay up long. I'm gonna just go ahead and tell you right now, the people who built this web of lies have everything to lose, and they've buried this story before. So stay with me, because in the next few minutes, you're gonna see exactly why Dan Bongino broke down, why Trump's enemies are panicking, and why Hillary Clinton may finally be forced to answer for the operation that shocked the FBI and nearly destroyed America from within. So let's get started. If you appreciate the news updates, hit the like button and subscribe. Dan Bongino, he's seen a lot. He's a former Secret Service agent. He's a former NYPD, former intel inside the Beltway swamp. Guys, he's seen all sorts of stuff we can only imagine. Nightmares. But what he just uncovered inside of a classified SCIF was so horrifying, so beyond the pale. He said he'll never be the same again. So let me say that again. I'll never be the same after learning what I've learned. Wow, we cannot run a republic like this, is exactly what he said. So this is not political theater. That's not a tweet for engagement. That's a man who just looked into the eyes of pure institutional betrayal and saw America's enemies sitting in his own house, sitting in our own house. Dan Bongino wasn't shaken by some media narrative. He saw the evidence, real names, real time frames, real timelines, real operations, and one name just kept surfacing over and over again: Hillary Clinton. So hang out for a second with me, guys, because what you're about to hear next is why President Trump handpicked Dan Bongino and Kash Patel to lead the most dangerous mission in Washington, D.C. right now, and why the FBI is starting to eat itself alive from the inside. Now, under the leadership of President Donald J. Trump, who is now fully back in charge and cleaning house, a classified FBI strike force was quietly activated. Its job? Expose the deep state lies that nearly brought this country to its knees. And the two men Trump trusts to lead the charge, Dan Bongino and Kash Patel. Now, these are not some random agents. They're the ones who blew open the original Russiagate hoax while the rest of Washington was covering up, and they were cowering. They've been waiting for years to finish this job. And so here's a twist. This strike force isn't just looking for Hillary's lies about Trump. They're uncovering how the same network, Clinton's allies, corrupt intel officials, and media collaborators may have helped cover up something even worse: Iran's nuclear plot. Let that sit with you for a second, okay? While they were framing Trump as a Russian agent, they were ignoring or maybe even enabling an enemy nation to buy 300 tons of uranium right under our noses. What the heck? And Dan Bongino, he just saw the paper trail. Now, I want to walk you through this exact moment, but what you really need to understand here is this. Dan Bongino's collapse wasn't theatrical. It was emotional, because these weren't just clerical errors. These were clear acts of betrayal, not against Trump, but against you and me, the American people, guys. The Iran connection is crazy. So while Americans are distracted by fake scandals, while the media obsessed over Trump's taxes and Twitter posts, something unthinkable was happening on the world stage. Iran was quietly acquiring enough uranium to buy or build 30 nuclear warheads. Not speculation, not rumor. We know as of this month, Iran purchased 300 tons of yellow cake uranium from Niger, a deal that's valued at over $56 million. And guess who missed it? Or maybe just kind of let it happen? The same intelligence officials who spent years fabricating evidence against Trump. This isn't just a violation of sanctions. This is a global security threat. A hostile regime is enriching uranium right now. The same regime that funds terror groups has publicly vowed to destroy Israel and is suspected of coordinating sleeper cells within U.S. cities. Sleeper cells, guys. So here's what makes the story even more outrageous. Under President Trump, the moment that this intel was confirmed, airstrikes were authorized. Back on June 22nd, 3 of Iran's nuclear facilities, Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan, were hit, and they got hit hard. President Trump, he didn't wait for another deal or some secret payout. He acted decisively, strategically, patriotically. And yet, even after the strikes, Iran refused to stop. They called America's bluff. They doubled down. But that's when Dan Bongino stepped into the classified files and found out why they were so bold. It goes back to her. Newly declassified documents reveal that Hillary Clinton's 2016 campaign didn't just lie about Trump being a Russian agent. She funded the Russian disinformation herself. That infamous dossier, the one that was used to launch FBI surveillance on Trump's team, yeah, it was bought and paid for by Clinton's people and compiled using Russian intelligence sources. That's not me saying this, guys. This is from court documents, sworn testimony, and now the classified files Dan Bongino and Kash Patel are reviewing. And here's where it gets nuclear, literally. According to multiple sources inside this new FBI strike force, the same Clinton-linked networks that created the Trump-Russia hoax, they were also linked to intel operations that downplayed or completely ignored Iran's nuclear purchases. Let that sink in. So while President Trump was getting smeared left and right as a traitor, the real traitors may have helped Iran bypass international detection. Hillary's name's all over it through Fusion GPS, Perkins Coie, and even Fusion's Russia specialist, Nellie Orr, who, by the way, was feeding FBI intel from sketchy overseas sources while her husband, Bruce Orr, was at the DOJ. There's a whole big spider web of corruption, and the trail leads in 2 directions, one to Mar-a-Lago and one to Tehran. Now, I've heard people all over the country who've called Chapter, and I partnered them for a reason. They're not like the others. They're not pushing some one-size-fits-all plan. They're digging in and they're finding what works best for you. Now, Buck told me, he said, hey, I'm now saving $166 a month. When all you have is Social Security, that is a sweet raise. And Julie from Kansas, she got tricked by a local broker, but was rescued by Chapter, now saving $400 a year. That's what happens when somebody actually fights for your best interest. So give our friends at Chapter a call right now. Phone numbers down below, 909-563-8279, or visit them at askchapter.org/Ron. I left a link for you guys in the pinned comment. You can just click it right now. Don't settle. Get the plan that you deserve. And look out for your parents too. If you've got parents over the age of 65, contact Chapter for them. Sometimes they don't even know. So what happens when honest agents stumble on a lie that's just too big to speak? Well, according to multiple insider sources, this is exactly what happened inside the FBI. When these documents finally hit the strike force review team, career agents, some with decades of service, they were stunned. Some thought that they were simply reopening Russiagate files, but instead they uncovered something far more dangerous. Classified intelligence proving that key evidence had been suppressed intentionally. Evidence that not only exonerated Trump, but revealed a network of political operatives, intel officers, and foreign actors colluding to deceive the American people. And when Trump's uranium deals showed up buried in the same folder chain, one internal memo, paraphrased by a whistleblower, simply read, "This goes deeper than politics. This is treason wrapped in red tape." Now, think about that, guys. Think about that. Treason, not just corruption, but not just abuse of power, but an operation that's so rotten, so reckless that it nearly handed nuclear capability to a regime that chants death to America. And while the system tried to hide it, Bongino saw it. That's why he said what he said. "I'll never be the same again. We cannot run a republic like this." And he's right. We can't. Not if traitors walk free while patriots get raided. And speaking of raids, let's go back to August 2022. Joe Biden was still clinging to power. Donald Trump had already declassified key Russiagate documents on his way out the door. And then suddenly the FBI raids Mar-a-Lago. Full-blown media hysteria. You guys remember that, right? They told us it was about classified documents. But now we know the truth. They weren't trying to protect national security. They were trying to protect themselves. Because inside those boxes, according to multiple sources close to the investigation, were declassified documents proving the FBI and CIA's direct involvement in manufacturing the Russia hoax and ignoring Iran's nuclear activity. Now, let me say that again. They raided the home of a former and future president of the United States to steal back evidence of their own crimes. Think about that, guys. The same deep state that protected Hillary Clinton, the same bureaucrats who weaponized the FBI to silence Trump supporters, the same network that let Iran build up nuclear material without fear, raided Mar-a-Lago, not to recover state secrets, but to hide the secrets that would destroy them. And Dan Bongino has seen the documents to back it up. But the question now is this: what happens next? Because Tulsi Gabbard and John Ratcliffe already filed criminal referrals for Hillary Clinton, Comey, Brennan, and more. And President Trump's DOJ right now, under his leadership, is preparing the case. So while the media drowned us in all sorts of lies and distractions, a quiet storm was building because not everybody in Washington sold out. Former DNI, John Ratcliffe, and yes, even former Democrat Tulsi Gabbard took action behind the scenes. And what they did, it changes everything. They didn't just talk, they filed criminal referrals. Referrals that names names. Hillary Clinton, James Comey, John Brennan, and multiple officials tied to the fraudulent Russia narrative, the fraudulent Russiagate narrative, now proven false. For years, these referrals were ignored, buried by Biden's DOJ, but today is different. And President Donald J. Trump is back in charge. His Justice Department is no longer a shield for elites, it's a sword for the people. Ratcliffe recently said, and I quote, "The DOJ now has what it needs to bring fair and just claims against those who perpetrated this hoax against the American people." So this means indictments are not just possible. Oh, those are coming. But as we move a little bit closer to the truth and accountability, the danger gets worse because the people who nearly handed Iran 30 nuclear warheads, they're still out there, guys, and they're not done. So we've already seen what Iran is capable of overseas. But what about here at home? Intelligence chatter recently confirmed through defense sources suggests that Iran-backed proxy groups are sleeper cells may be operating inside the United States. The sleeper cells are waiting for the order, waiting for the green light, waiting while America is still untangling who helped them get this far. So here is what's most terrifying. Some of those sleeper cell networks may have been protected intentionally by the very intel officials who were focused on smearing Trump instead of protecting you. Guys, we're talking about cities like Chicago, Los Angeles, New York, and yes, even Washington, D.C. These are not foreign enemies crossing the border. These are embedded threats empowered during the years when Biden's administration was just way too busy covering for its own corruption to secure this country. And that's exactly why President Trump's DOJ and FBI strike force are not just focused on Hillary's fraud. They're racing against the clock to neutralize every remaining threat tied to the uranium pipeline, Iran's retaliation plans, and any domestic cells that may have been activated. So what does all this lead to? Well, I want to talk about President Trump's strategy to clean house, rebuild trust in government, and make sure this never happens again. And then we need to answer the question that's on everybody's mind right now. Will Hillary Clinton actually face justice? Well, if you're watching this and you believe that there are still sleeper cells operating here in the US, I want you to drop a caution emoji in the comments right now, guys. If you're proud of how Trump is handling this, go ahead and type "finish it." Now, there's a reason why they fear Donald J. Trump. Has anyone ever wondered that? Anybody wonder why they decided to attack Trump the way they have over the years? I'll tell you what, it's not his tweets. It's not his rallies. It's the fact that he knows exactly what they did and how to dismantle it. Now, unlike the Biden years of appeasement, surveillance, and cover-ups, Trump is governing with precision. He's not reacting. He's not freaking out. He's not improvising. He's executing a strategic takedown of the most corrupt network of insiders that this country has ever seen. That makes him very dangerous. And in just the last month, he authorized the June 22nd precision strikes that took out Iran's key nuclear facilities. He empowered Dan Bongino and Kash Patel to reopen these classified investigations that were buried since 2017. He unleashed a strike force inside the FBI that's now pulling on threats threads tied to treason, espionage, and high-level interference within national security. And he's doing it all while under relentless media attack, left and right. You've seen CNN, MSNBC, ABC, NBC News, all of them. But that's what leaders do, guys. It's just something in them. They don't blink, they don't cave. They stand between you and the people who want America weak, infiltrated, and controlled. Trump recently said, "We will never allow nuclear weapons in the hands of enemies of America, and we will expose anyone who tried to make that possible." That's not a soundbite. That's a mission. And that mission is now in motion. And so now we arrive at the question that everybody's asking. Will Hillary Clinton finally be held accountable? Will the woman who funded the Russia hoax, who paid Russian spies, who fed the FBI false intel, who stood silent while Iran gathered enough uranium for 30 warheads, will she finally face justice? Now, according to Dan Bongino, justice is no longer a theory. The documents are real, the names are real, the referrals have been filed, and the political protection that she once enjoyed is gone. The Trump DOJ has picked up the criminal referrals filed by Ratcliffe, Tulsi Gabbard, and others. And so now, with the strike force unearthing new connections between Clinton's networks and foreign intel operations, it's no longer about whether she's going to be investigated. It's about how far the indictments are going to reach. Now, this isn't about one woman. This is about a system that tried to destroy a sitting president, empower a foreign enemy, and silence anyone who got in their way. And so, as of today, that system is finally being unraveled. Dan Bongino saw the truth and he broke it. In fact, I think the truth may have broken him. He said, "We cannot run a republic like this." But now, thanks to Trump's return and thanks to those who refuse to look the other way, the truth is finally coming out. And the question is no longer, will justice be served? It's how soon. Now, if you believe Hillary Clinton should be prosecuted, drop a yes in the comments right now. If you believe Trump's strike force is doing what the DOJ refused to do, drop a fire emoji in the comments. And if you want this information to reach more people before it gets silenced, share this video right now and hit that like button. And one more thing before you go, YouTube thinks you're going to absolutely love the next video that just popped up on your screen right now. And honestly, they're right. That video connects directly to everything we just exposed, and it could be the most important piece of the puzzle yet. So do not miss it. Click it right now, watch it, and see how deep this really goes. Stay alert, stay free, and God bless the United States of America.